revendications, c'est des pas vers un monde avec moins de police, idéalement un jour sans police.
Thank you, Ted. So since when we asked for a 50% reduction, the City of Montreal actually increased the police budget. So I think that what's really important is that we can start taking these steps within our own communities and not wait for governments to do so. So it's getting to know people in your community. This week was very tragic. We had 9 overdose deaths. 4 of them were Indigenous. Working with street communities, it's really, really breaks my heart that those things can be prevented if things were put into place. And it's also to invest more than just into harm reduction. It's to offer culturally safe places for people to heal, to detox. We have actually the solutions, and it's definitely not a money issue since we keep increasing money for police. So sometimes I think that what we can do is find out what are the organizations in our area, who are the people that may be struggling in our neighborhoods. If there's like a neighbor that might be, dealing with some kind of mental health issues, or maybe there might be some domestic violence and so forth, is to get to know them. Because sadly enough, when we call the police 911, it's kind of a toss-up of like what's going to happen. And like if we want to think about like the times that here in the last recent years with Pierre Corriera, Nicholas Gibbs, Sheffield Matthews, those were people dealing with mental health crises, and their deaths were senseless. Like if we would have sent people to actually respond with compassion, they would be alive today. So I am asking that we show a lot of compassion towards each other, maybe meet people that may not understand what defunding the police, to meet them with compassion, not judgment, because it's something that we've been taught that police are there to protect. It's like really a societal value. We see it in media and movies, and they might not understand. So it's really not to come from a judgment, and that's how we change consciousness, and that's how we change this issue. And that's how we're going to defund the police and hopefully dismantle and abolish it at some point. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I'm confident.
She's going to let you 100, so we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I think that, sometimes we talk about dual power. We need to build new ways of relating to one another in our communities, and we need to, and when we do that, we also build the power to force governments to do what we want to do. So, we don't all need to be working on all these things all the time, but at some point we do need the city government to cut the police budget. And so it does mean also that the current city government, Projet Montreal, is an enemy. They've increased the police budget more than any other city in Canada since 2010. They've passed the 2 largest budget increases in the history of this city. They've increased the budget more since 2020, when a movement to defund the police and in support of Black residents and Indigenous residents, other people harmed by the police, emerged. They responded to that movement by going the other direction and increasing the budget more than they had before there was a movement. It's a party that's really good at making bike lanes, and I bike year-round. I love the bike lanes, but it's also a party of white gentrifiers like this guy, and that their base is not affected by the police, so they don't care. And B, a characteristic of white gentrifiers and property owners is they like the police because they don't like les choses qui nous fait peur, which are not dangers. They're sources of discomfort for people who just are used to feeling pleasant everywhere. And so, we need to build a movement in our communities to support each other, and a movement against this government to pressure them to do things that they will not do, and in the long term get an actual left-wing government that supports justice for everyone into power. And so lastly, I want to say thank you to the people who organized this event. Jess and I have been involved for 3 years, but we're tired. Aussi, il y a plein de groupes de travail. Alors, il y a des groupes qui travaillent sur plein de choses, dont un groupe qui travaille sur l'organisation de l'événement aujourd'hui. Ils ont travaillé pendant 3 ou 4 mois. Ils ont fait un énorme travail. Ça va nous bénéficier tout le monde. Tous. Alors, the people to thank are Noélie, Gabrielle, Jay, Lacey, Asif, Sona, Scott with 1 T, and Sasha. Thank you so much, team. It's already a wonderful event. It's already wonderful to see you here. They made this happen. We all made this happen because we're here, but it's going to feel better as the day goes on. And the last thing is, if you don't have a schedule for the event, they're available at the 3 welcome tents right there, and right there. The workshops are happening in these 2 spaces over here. This is known as left stage. This is known as right stage, but we're all to the left, so it's like question of degrees. And so the first 2 workshops that are happening are one right there called Policing and Resistance in Little Burgundy, 1980s to present. So it's a history of the struggle against the police in the neighborhood in which we're standing. Et l'autre, c'est Disrupting White Supremacy Through Storytelling. Alors, on va prendre une pause de comme 5 minutes. Et si vous êtes intéressé à assister à un atelier, vous pouvez aller là-bas ou là-bas. Et je vous souhaite une très belle journée. Je suis très content de vous voir.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Trevor. Have a wonderful day.